to tell you a secret, one important secret about very beautiful women, okay? And why you should approach them, and I'll talk about some in-person approach tactics that might help you. I'm Paul, Apex Mindset. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Get on my email list by going into the description. Click the link and put your email address in. There's no spam or ads, but I'm going to send content out to my private group, things that I can't share on YouTube. Okay, tips, tricks, secrets. Some of them are a little too racy for the censors. All right, so let me get into it a little bit. This is CLE, in case you're curious. Just got a box today. This is a good Connecticut wrapper. I like a good Connecticut wrapper, but it's not always. They're not always like the best because they're not strong enough. They're not full bodied enough. If you don't understand what that means, but they make a really good Connecticut that has a real full body to it, and so that's why I like it. So it's a really nice smoke, and we'll have this smoke while we talk. So the secret is that very beautiful women, we're talking your 9s, near 10s, almost unapproachable women, they are all insecure. That's right. Every single one of these women that are super, super freaking gorgeous are insecure. It's in their DNA. They can't help it. All right? I'm going to light, if you excuse me. There we go. So, yes, they're all insecure, which is why you should always approach them, okay? Never be fearful about approaching a beautiful woman, all right? Here's why they're insecure, okay? They're insecure because, and when I say it's in their DNA, I mean it. All women, doesn't matter how she looks, has an existential threat of not being good enough and being discarded by the alpha, or discarded. We want to remove the term alpha, just discarded by who she perceives is her best sexual option. So all women have a existential fear. Hi. See, I have one right here. Very pretty girl.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. Talk about what you're afraid of. What you are afraid of. We'll see what she says about it. Maybe she... So the video is, I'm telling these guys a secret. The secret is that very beautiful women, okay?
Hold on.
You're not ready for this, are you? Very beautiful women all have one thing in common.
What's that?
There's insecurity. Somewhere there's some insecurity. It's not that you're not confident. It's not that you don't know that you're hot. But there's some little thing that you're insecure about. Could be something from when you were a kid. It had an awkward phase. Anything.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Anyone does, though.
Anyone does.
Not just very pretty women.
Exactly. But problem is, guys think a very pretty woman doesn't have insecurities and therefore is unapproachable. You see what I'm saying?
Not true.
It's not true, exactly. And that is what I'm telling these guys in this video right now. So take it from this very beautiful woman I'm talking to right now.
You can't even see.
You cannot see her. We're going to keep your identity closed to the public. Or for now. Otherwise, they're going to try to figure out where I'm filming from. They're going to attack. They're going to raid the place, try to kidnap you and make you their sex slave. This is all over the world, so it could be like, some dudes from some crazy Muslim country going to capture you. I want her to be my wife, whatever.
You're wild.
I know, right? You miss me, don't you?
Of course. I was just checking to make sure you're good.
Oh.
With your coffee.
With my coffee. You're so disappointed in me. That's okay.
It's alright.
I'm good. Thank you for your contribution to my video and for showing your body here so I could be motivated to finish. So, a little interruption, but there you go. She actually is very beautiful. And I'm not BSing, she's a hot girl, and it's true. It's not just true because I say it, it's true because it's true. Their existential threat is being discarded by an alpha, so they all have an insecurity. They all have it, okay? They're not impervious to that. They're all very self-conscious about something, right? They're self-conscious and worried about not being good enough. So if you approach them, this is why you always approach, because if you approach them fearlessly, regardless of what you look like, regardless of what shortcomings you think that you have, even if you think, oh, she's out of my league or whatever, she's not, first of all, probably. But it's not even, if you think that she's out of your league, but you approach with utmost confidence and with a fearlessness about it, that will trigger or stimulate those insecurities that she has. It's disarming to her a little bit, and not in a bad way. I mean, in a good way, okay? In a sense that she always, because it's that if you come across as a very alpha guy to her, and if you're fearless, that demonstrates that you don't think she's better than you. Therefore, you feel that she is, somebody that is attainable to you, right? It kind of plays a little trick with her mind. She starts to wonder or question, like, it's kind of disarming a little bit. And we're not talking like consciously, she doesn't think about that consciously, but her primal self, might get a little nervous in a good way, or might just kind of be curious about you. Who is this person with this level of confidence to come talk to me? I'm curious. He must have something. You don't always have to be the 6'2" handsome dude with the abs and $1 million and a chiseled jaw to get the pretty girl to want to talk to you. Now, does that guy have an easier time than the guy who's 5'5" or something? Yeah, of course, right? Of course. But that doesn't mean that the shorter guy or whatever doesn't have any chance or isn't going to be successful. Think about it. How many times have you seen very pretty women with D-bags for guys that they're with? Where you look at them and you're like, how is she with that dude right now? How is that possible? Right? You question that. Like, what is going on? Now, there's a lot of factors that play a role when women make these decisions. I'm already out of my light. Whatever. We'll finish the video. There's a lot of factors that play a role when women make these decisions, okay? So it's not necessarily like that douchebag guy must, have something really going for him. Who knows? She could have just really low self-esteem. Another thing that happens with very pretty women, sometimes their self-esteem is actually low, all right? And so they don't think they're worth a crap, but they know they're pretty. So they lead with that. They wear makeup, they do themselves up, and they present that their outward beauty, because on the inside, they're not very confident. And so that is that secret, though, is they're insecure. They're either confident with small insecurities, that existential one being discarded by an alpha and not being good enough for a guy that she sees as her best, okay? Or she's deep, big insecurities and actually not confident on the inside and is leading with her beauty, right? And so it's very easy to disarm that and make a connection right away. And so now I'll get you into some tips. And this is in-person game, okay? When you're online, you're going to do things differently. You're going to maximize profile, but there's a limitation there. She has to perceive your SMV as high from the photos, and she has to make a logical, conscious decision. And, if you're a lower SMV guy, that's actually being on like Tinder or the apps or whatever, that's actually you're actually less likely to be successful there, okay? Because women vet for just what they can see. And if what they see is not, let's say, the best looking dude they've ever been with, they're probably not going to choose you, okay? Now, I'm not saying there are not things there are things you can do for online dating to maximize your profile and everything, all right? So I'm not saying that. And there's things out there, courses out there that will help you with that. I can help you with that as well. But We're talking about in-person game now, where someone with lower SMV actually has better chances in person with a very pretty girl than he does with just presenting his picture on an app. Okay, that's just the fact. That's the reality. Unless, it depends on what he's leading with. But if he's looking for genuine desire, not leading with money, not on seeking arrangements where he's presenting himself as like some high money guy, right? We're talking, wants to be genuinely desired, not just for what he has in his pocket or what he can provide for her. She has better chances in person. Okay, so we're going to talk about in-person game at this point. And the whole COVID thing, things are lightening up right now. So people are meeting at bars, people are meeting at public places again. Okay, so this is something you can execute as you see fit when the opportunity arises. All right. So what you do is you don't act like every other guy. Most guys, when there's a very beautiful woman or beautiful woman around, they're trying to qualify to this person. They're trying to earn her attention. They're trying to get her attention. You know what I mean? You're actually not going to do that. What you're going to do, though, is you're going to dominate the room or your area or your space with your body language, okay, and with how you stand, how you interact, and you're going to be with your friend group, or even if you're by yourself, whatever you're there for that's independent of women, you're going to do that thing for a bit and just observe. Because this very pretty woman might be a real terrible person to want to be around. So you're not just going to approach her because she has a nice can, right? You want to it's part of your vetting process. And this puts you in a frame of mind too, where you're vetting her out for you. Now that doesn't mean deflecting and rationalizing so you don't approach her. That just means that you're looking for any warning signs of maybe this is not a person I want to talk to. All right, and those things can crop up. Now, let's say, for example, her boyfriend's in the bathroom. You know what I mean? You go to approach, and then the boyfriend is introducing himself after he gets out of the bathroom. That'd be embarrassing a little bit, a little goofy. So you're going to take some time, calculate a little bit, all right? When you're ready, you're going to approach, okay? And so what you're going to do is you're going to take a dominant alpha frame. I don't care if you're built like me or not. I don't care if you're 6'5" or 5'3", all right? You do want to look smacks a little bit. Let me back up. I'm not saying you can smell weird and look like a goofball and then you're going to be successful. I'm not claiming that. I'm not claiming that you're going to, use, NLP and field hypnosis, things that I'm certified in. You're going to go, wee, and put a Jedi mind trick her into liking you when you look like a slob. So don't do that. You want to look your best. Okay, don't worry about your SMV. You have what you have. But you should be getting in the gym, having a decent diet, and watching your health so that your body looks good, okay? And you should be, wearing clothes that are attractive, right? That look good for your frame and all that stuff, fit, colors that make sense, all that kind of stuff. Your accessories are important. All of those things. You do want to look max. You don't want to look like a douche, okay? Or a slob. All right, so those things need to be there. And then the rest is body language and sub-communication, which is that you own the room and you're the alpha person and you want to approach her as if she should be talking to you. Okay, that's the frame of mind you have when you approach. And so here's the magic line. Are you ready? Magic line for a pretty woman. You walk up deliberately, almost slow, but not slow, very deliberate. If she catches you or sees you, that's a good thing prior to. Very deliberate, very confident, even if she's in front of other friends. Now, you don't necessarily want to interrupt a conversation, but if she's with other people or whatever, go ahead and approach right there. Get her attention that way. It's bold. The reason this works is because it's so bold. Most guys will not have the courage to do this. And most guys are trying to think of clever ways to try to get her attention. You're just you've taken it to a different level. You just decide right there, now is the time for this person to talk to me. And you boldly go up there and you engage her. All right. Here's the magic line. Are you ready? You just walk up, get her eye contact if you can, right? You know, and you can do that by setting, you know, let's say you come up to her and you set a, you know, it's just like, say she's standing here, or she's where like a bar, she's at a, sitting someplace, whatever. You just set your drink down, maybe, right in front of her, so it gets her attention. Just eye contact, smile. Hey, how's it going? Wow, that's it. Pretty crazy line, right? Like super pickup line, right? Super good pickup line. Listen, I got lots of lines and ways of engaging a woman, but I'm giving you this one. Why would I give you this one? How many guys do you think who do have the courage and the balls to approach her are thinking of clever things to say? Jumping on their Google search to try to find a good pickup line, or try to find a good way to engage her. Or, you know what I mean? They're trying to figure that out, right? You don't give a shit. All right, you know she wants to talk to you. That's your frame of mind, your frame of reference, and that's all you do. When you do it with confidence and body language, it doesn't actually matter what you say. Now, there are things we can cover that are good things to say and how to lead and take a conversation. All right, I'm not saying the words don't matter, but in this scenario, this technique, and it's only one of many techniques, but this is really where you're doing what the old pickup artists used to call AMOGing, okay? You're going to AMOG everyone in the room right now by just coming up to her with dominance and confidence, like she is not the 9.5 or 10 that everyone perceives her as if she should be talking to you, and you just smile, calm, alpha, in control, deliberate. Hey, how are you? All right, that's it. Okay. Now, this will disarm her. How often does she have that or run into that? Right? So now what do you do after that? She might be, if she's like, oh, hey, good, you know, how are you? Now you are going to have a conversation with her, right? So here's how conversations work with pickup. I usually start where I'm doing most of the talking, okay, to begin with, to engage her and draw her in. So the technique I'll show you today, because there's a million of them, is called storytelling. So I'm going to engage her with some dumb story. It can only be 60 seconds, and it draws her into a conversation, okay? So women, she's already self-conscious, right? So she doesn't know what to say. So she doesn't know what to say, so she's hoping you have something to say. You approached her, you know? So a lot of guys will start with questions like, well, what brings you here? Or do you come here often? Whatever. Okay, or they're trying to think of a cool line. Well, so you start actually with a story that is that interesting and weird, and it just kind of engages her. Now, after 60 seconds to a couple minutes, you're doing most of the talking, but it shifts to her doing most of the talking. And you do that through a question, and that engages her imagination. So you want to use creative language to engage imagination. This is where what you say does matter, although how you say it is always more important. All right? So let's say I go, hey, how's it going? She's like, fine. Kind of disarmed, right? Like, fine. How are you? I might say, you know what? I'm doing excellent. Although I had a really weird thing happen just earlier. And see if she's engaging. Well, what was that? Okay, so then just say this. Here's my story now. So you ready for a story? I say, okay, this is going to sound crazy. You have to let me know if anything like this happened to you. So I had this chick who invited me over, girl, okay, obviously. Invited me over earlier today. I didn't even think I'd be out here. And she invited me to do like a Netflix and pizza chill evening. All right. You know, the good old Netflix and chill, right? She invited me to do that. And so I'm over, and she's kind of nervous, and she's in the kitchen trying to get this frozen pizza going. And then she opens the oven when the pizza's done, and she looks at me and she goes, this is the worst part. And she proceeds to grab the pizza with her bare hands out of the oven, burning her hands, juggling it, dumping it all over the counter. And then she looks at me and goes, "Oh, I'm just not very good in the kitchen." So that Netflix date is over, and now I'm here with you. So how are you? What is the worst date situation or Netflix and chill situation you've ever been in? Because that was probably my worst. That's it, right? Dumb story. Who gives a shit? And then boom, transition into a question. And now, okay, it's kind of interesting, kind of funny story. Did it really happen? No. Okay. Doesn't really matter. And then she's engaged now in a conversation. Okay, so that's a technique. It's called the storytelling technique. All right, where you say something and then you get her, you ask her question, and now she's telling something, or she's in this mode. Okay. Now there's several ways she may respond. Okay, she might not be all that interested in talking to you, in which case you just break contact. All right. So, why are you going to talk to somebody who's not interested in you? You know what I'm saying? So you're just going to break contact at that point. You just, as soon as she is disinterested, you just kind of grab her, your hand or whatever, and just be like, "Pleasure meeting you," and you walk away. All right. So you're the center because you're the alpha. That's how you want to present yourself. You're the center that if somebody she should be talking to. If she is not interested in talking to you, it is not worth your time, pleasure meeting you, or whatever. You know what I mean? And then you just break contact. Now, obviously, there's conversations or interactions. I don't have anyone I'm interacting, although I did interact with our guest earlier, okay, and you could see some of that interaction. But so you got to keep in mind as I give you these examples, I don't have another person on the other end to interact with, so you kind of have to use your imagination as to how the different ways this could go. All right. So if she's not that interested, break contact too easy. You still maintain your alpha frame, and at that point, she may be thinking about you and be interested in you, and may try to get your attention at a later time or whatever. Okay. So if she is kind of engaged and listening to your story or whatever, she might engage you a little bit, and you kind of have this conversation with her now. And you just sort of joke around, and then you ask her fucking whatever. You know what I mean? I flirt, person in here, I might flirt a little bit and make references to what she looks like or something. I know her a little bit though, okay? You don't want to placate yourself to a woman and tell her how beautiful she is or any of that stuff when you first meet her, all right? Make it about this interesting interaction. And when you ask her the question, have you ever had that happen to you? Have you ever had anything weird, like similar happen to you? Or what was your worst experience with a dude inviting you over? Because I think I just left mine, all right? And so now she is telling you her experience, or has to get in her imagination, and now she's the one who has to make her story interesting. And now what does that mean? She's qualifying to you, you see? And so my story wasn't qualifying to her because I'm just telling her what happened, and I'm not telling her how amazing she is. I'm not, you know what I mean? It's just a freaking story. But now she's the one who's responding to me because I approach. So she responds to me, and she is having to, if she's having to kind of qualify to me to answer my questions, right? Because I approached her, which builds interest, whether she had it to begin with or not. Because now she's investing in the interaction. So now she is liking me and gravitating towards me because she is responding to me. Does that make sense? And so that's the approach, that one way. There's like a million of these, okay? A million of these. What matters is your internal frame, because you can kind of take it anywhere you want to, and it works when your internal frame is strong and you present yourself as the best option, okay? So that's where you go with it. And now you always want to, so let's say we're going to get to the end of the interaction. You're more important than she is. This is how you present yourself at all times, not in a condescending, egotistical way. You are treating yourself of high value, because if you don't treat yourself like that and present yourself in that way, she will not perceive you like that. So, when breaking the conversation, you have two choices. You can grab contact information, or grab contact information on a second encounter, or set the date, set a meeting up right there. So those are your choices. So I might say, you know what? I got to get back. I really like talking to you. I got to get back with my friends though. You got Facebook, Insta, phone? How do I get in touch with you? I want to set some. I'm going out of town when I get back. I want to set something up. Let's get together when I get back. That's it. Hand her, Another way of doing it is if she's really qualifying to you and really interested in you, you take your phone out, you just hand it, you open it up to where contacts are or to where text is, hand it to her while she's sort of talking, and you go, I got to get with my friends. Put it in there. Say it just like that, as if. You always act as if. Of course she's going to give you her contact information, as if. So that's one thing that I do all the time, or did all the time, right? Whatever, is I just hand them when they're engaged and interested in trying to tell me and talk to me, answer my questions with interest, I break that conversation by handing them my phone, open to the text portion. And it should kind of, a lot of times, like probably half the time, they just go, oh, and then they just punch their number right in, and they hit send or whatever with their name. And that's like, I'd say maybe not 50%, maybe 40% of the time when she's interested. I'm only doing this when I gauge high interest. Now, the second thing is she might kind of be like, oh, what? And you're like, yeah, put it in there. Your number, contact. I got to go get with my friends, but I really enjoy this conversation. I want to continue later on or whatever. And she'll go, oh, all right, and she'll put it in there. So that's a technique, okay? Or you could just say it, all right? That would be another thing, all right? Or you could do set the date up, set the encounter up right there where you say, you know what? Actually really like talking to you. That's just surprising. I didn't think I would, no offense. But you're pretty cool. What are you doing next week? When are you free? All right, so in that circumstance, I gave what's called a neg, which I said I didn't think I would like talking to you, but I did. So it's a compliment, but it's a negative compliment. Again, keep her qualifying to me. And so then I say, when are you free next week? If she's high interest, she'll say, well, Tuesday, after work, I'm not. Oh, okay, cool. And you set it up right there. All right, you do know where so-and-so place is? Let's meet there 6:30 Tuesday. Okay, cool. Hey, I'll exchange numbers real fast, so if anything comes up, I'll text you, you text me. Otherwise, I'll see you Tuesday. And that's it. Boom. Set it up. Okay? And you behave as if she wants to do this with you. And so then there's the break contact, come back later. That's if you're interrupted or if it just something doesn't smell right because maybe your friend's trying to do this or pull or someone's trying to engage you. You just go do the thing where you're like, you know what? I'm going to talk to you later. And then you bounce. But she showed interest, so then you kind of come back and you say, hey, what's up? Hey, I like talking to you earlier. Let's continue the conversation. Hand her your phone. Put it in, just tell her, put it in there, and we'll continue at a later time. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Okay, so those are some pickup techniques, some method. Okay, the story method. There's the things that work. All right, but the point is that you always approach and you do it with the most alpha frame as possible. With a very pretty girl, don't even worry about a line, especially a pretty girl. Okay, because she gets that all the time. All right, so you separate yourself by not giving a crap of what you say to her. You know what I mean? I don't care if my story is interesting or not. It's just whatever. And sometimes after I get a number or whatever, I kind of wink at her and go, you know what? I made that whole story up in the beginning. I'll talk to you next week. You know what I mean? I'll just do that. It's kind of funny, right? Like what? And so these are all techniques that work. But the moral is, because I want to give you guys techniques as people are like, man, like you have all this game, you have all these pickup skills, and I've been very successful with that, So I should impart more of it. So here's me doing that. I'm imparting more of it to you. All right. So take this with you, use it. All of these skills apply all the time. All right. Whether you're engaging someone online, eventually, if you're doing the online dating thing, you have to end up in person with them. So having the skills to pick up and communicate with women because this is what it is. Your pickup skills or game, you're communicating with women on a primal sexual level. That's really what you're doing, okay? And so that skill set applies to any medium, and you will always end up face to face with her at some point. So even if you're not a in-person game guy, okay, you still need the skills. Because what's going to happen when she decides to meet up with you after you over text probably and met on some dating app, okay, you end up on a date, you end up in front of each other, now what? Right? So you have to have these skills, and the more you practice these skills and do these things, even if you're not getting closes meaning number closes, dates, just the practice of approaching, talking to women, and steering a conversation is a skill set in and of itself, which you need to learn. Women are very disappointed when they go on these dates and a guy is sitting there and then doesn't know what to say, and she doesn't know what to say, and he doesn't know how to engage her. It's uncomfortable. This is why women hate dating, by the way, because it's that awkwardness of the first date. Guess what? Women don't hate dating me because they have a good time, because there is no awkwardness, because I engage them in conversation properly. So this is a skill set you need to learn, all right? Approaching and stuff and just engaging people as strangers in conversation, not in an obtrusive way like London Day Game where you just accost people on the streets, but in a way that is not a uncomfortable scenario for them or a waste of their time, and in a way that is valuable to them. Engaging strangers in conversation and having that social connection is a good way to practice communicating to a woman and communicating to her primal sexual brain, okay? But to close the video, the moral is always approach a pretty girl. I don't care what you look like. Because I'll get this. But Paul, I don't look like you. I didn't spend as much time at the gym as you did. I'm not as tall as you. I'm not whatever. I don't look like you. I can't do this alpha thing. I can't just approach women like that. You're wrong. You're wrong. Because let's say a guy who's half my size, okay, but he maxes himself out. He's dressed well and he looks like presentable, looks good, smells good, all that good stuff. Let's say he's half my size, not quite so alpha, whatever, right? But he comes up to that pretty girl the way I would, as if we say no F's given, right? With maximum confidence. That's going to disarm her more than if I do it. She expects that from me, and she expects me to be kind of an asshole. But from a guy who's half of me, she doesn't expect that level of confidence. Right? So she's going to, holy smokes, what does this guy have? And she's going to get curious. Curiosity is a precursor to desire. Okay? Lastly, rejection happens. So if you do this once and a pretty girl rejects you or laughs at you or whatever, who cares? Okay? You can do everything right. Don't let the opinion of some dumb girl, whether she's a 10 or a 2, have any influence on how you feel about yourself. All right? Rejection is a valuable thing because rejection trains you to not placate or not care about what a woman thinks in terms of her opinion of you, and that is very powerful. All right? So just because you got game tips here, you could do a whole game course with me and be an expert at it. You can still get rejected, and it happens less, and it's buffered because you can you have more social awareness to sense arousal and attraction, but it still happens, and it's okay anytime it does. So you have nothing to lose. Always approach the pretty girl every time, and do it like you're the baddest MFer in the room. Thanks for the support.